Most people imagine the third degree as the summit of Freemasonry, the moment a man finally becomes a master. They are not wrong, but in this tradition, the room he becomes a master in is a tomb. This is the middle chamber, and in the continental working, it is dressed for a funeral. Black cloth sewn with silver tears, a skull, scattered bones, an open grave, and laid across it one sprig of an evergreen plant, still green. The first degree brought a man in and turned him inward. The second sent him out to search. The third brings him here, to die. This is the third degree, the Master Mason, as it is worked in the continental Scottish Rite. To understand the death, you have to know the man. In the legend, his name is Hiram Abiff, the master architect of King Solomon's temple, the one mind that held the whole design in his head. Thousands worked on that temple. One man directed all of it, and to that one man alone was entrusted the master's word. The word is the center of this degree, and it is easy to mistake. It is not a password. It is the symbol of a finished thing, the name of the divine, the completion of the work, the knowledge that would crown both the temple and the man entitled to speak it. Think of the 3 degrees as the making of a whole person. The first prepares him, the second educates him, the third was meant to perfect him, to hand him the word once the temple stood complete. But the temple was not complete, and the word was about to be lost. One note carried over from the first 2 films. In the United States, the Scottish Rite proper begins above these craft degrees, and the third belongs to the Blue Lodge. What follows is the continental expression, the REAA, where the Rite works the craft degrees itself. 3 of the craftsmen could not wait. They wanted the master's word, the rank it carried, the wages, the standing, before the temple was finished and before they had earned it. In the continental telling, they are given no names. They are simply the 3 companions, and they agreed to take by force what was not yet theirs to receive. They set themselves at the temple's 3 gates, and they waited. When the master came to each gate alone, they demanded the word, and each time he refused. At the first gate, a blow. At the second, a heavier one. At the third, the last. The master fell rather than surrender what he had no right to give to men who had not earned it. Read the legend however you like, and Masons have read it 100 ways, but the continental reading is plain. This is fidelity carried all the way to death, the keeper of a truth who will not hand it to the unready, whatever it costs him. The 3 carried the body out of the temple by night, up a lonely hill, and buried it. And then, from guilt or carelessness or something they could not have named, they marked the grave. They pressed a sprig of acacia, an evergreen, into the earth at its head. By morning, the master was missing, and the work stood still. A temple cannot be finished without the mind that holds its design. The whole vast project halted on the absence of one man. Companions were sent to search, and on a barren slope, they found what had no business being there: a living branch, green, growing from disturbed ground. The acacia gave him up. And here the degree turns. The acacia is an evergreen. It keeps its color when everything around it dies back. In this tradition, it is the central emblem of the whole degree, the sign that something in a man does not end when his body does. The room was a tomb. The acacia is the first thing spoken in it that is not about death.
What happens next?
Is the heart of the degree, and it is the part I will describe rather than show. The master is raised, not revived, raised, lifted out of the grave as the sign of the truth this whole fraternity is built on. The individual dies. The principle does not. The man who held the design is gone. The craft he served goes on without him. And the candidate, standing in his place, is brought through that death and out the far side of it. The earliest expositors of the rite saw older patterns here. Albert Pike, in Morals and Dogma, read Hiram's death and raising as an echo of the ancient mysteries. Osiris cut down and restored, the god who dies and returns, the sun that sets and rises again. Later scholarship is more cautious, and many Masons would rather let the drama work on its own terms than dissolve it into a solar myth. Both are in the room. You are allowed to feel the echo without calling it the answer. But there is a wound at the center of this, and the continental tradition refuses to close it. When the master died, the word died with him. It was not recovered. It could not be, because the only man who could speak it was gone. So those who raised him agreed on a substitute, a stand-in word, adopted openly as exactly that, a placeholder to be carried until the true one could be found again. The third degree does not give a man the word. It gives him its absence and asks him to carry it.
This is where the two traditions divide
For good. For much of Anglo-American Masonry, the third degree is the summit. The craft is finished here. A man is a master mason, and that is the whole of it. And the lost word is recovered later in another body, the Royal Arch, where the circle quietly closes. The Scottish Rite does something else with the same ending. It treats the third degree not as a destination, but as a door. The word is still lost. The temple is still unfinished. And recovering that word becomes the work of everything that follows. The very next degree, the fourth, the secret master, opens exactly where this one leaves off, in the grief of the empty sanctuary, the missing master. And the word is not found again until far up the ladder, in the 18th, the degree of the Rose Cra. The whole long arc of the rite, degree after degree, is the search for the thing that died on that hill. So the three craft degrees, taken together, are the shape of a life. The apprentice went inward, into himself. The companion went outward into the world after knowledge. The master goes down into the grave and is raised carrying a wound where the answer should be. Inward, outward, downward, and up. He is a master mason now. And in this rite, that means he is standing at the threshold of everything still to come. That is the third degree, not the end of the journey, but the door it was all leading to.